Hello, lovely people. I'm Maggie, and this is Sonnet number 2 by William Shakespeare. When 40 winters hath besieged thy brow, and dig deep trenches in thy beauty's field, thy youth's proud livery, so gazed on now, will be a tattered weed, of small worth held. Then, being asked where all thy beauty lies, where all the treasure of thy lusty days, to say within thine own deep sunken eyes were an all-eating shame and thriftless praise. How much more praise deserved thy beauty's use, if thou couldst answer, this fair child of mine shall sum my count and make my old excuse, proving his beauty by succession thine. This were to be new made when thou art old, and see thy blood warm when thou feel'st it cold. This sonnet, very similar to sonnet number 1, draws on similar topics. Before I know what these are, and you already probably know them, it does show us almost perfect iambic pentameter throughout. So there's only one line where it's uneven and it's broken, and I didn't even pronounce it in that actually proper way. So the line, how much more praise deserved thy beauty's use, which I pronounced deserved, I believe, wrongly in a way. So only this line actually is with an uneven iambic pentameter. Everything else is with a perfect pentameter, and obviously if you want to dig more into that, you can do your own research, and if you want to give examples, this is a good sonnet to use. In terms of the topics, again, we have succession, we have beauty, eternal beauty, we have time, 40 winters, and also we have very similar comparisons, and as in sonnet number 1, imagining what would be when the youth becomes old, how would he feel, trying to persuade him again to have children, because only then he would be able to feel warm and look himself into a mirror when he looks into his child's eyes. So there's lots of these comparisons. I do think that the sonnet is a lot more dense than the first one. Obviously we're not comparing apples with apples, because the first one I recited in Bulgarian, and the translation obviously in a way differs from the original. Yeah, there's lots of I think dark comparisons, all eating shame, thriftless praise. There's also alliteration, tattered weed, dig deep trenches, besiege thy beauty. So there's stress on the use of consonants, and I believe that also adds to the harshness with which the poet wants to portray the old ways towards which every one of us is going, and how it would look like. And in comparison with that, pose the argument of how much more easier it would be on us to take on old age if we had kids, if the young youth was not so selfish and had children. But I do like it as well, precisely for that. You can see as well that sonnet number 2 is different from sonnet number 1 in terms of the structure, and I implied this in the video where I explained a bit more about the sonnets, that not every sonnet follows the same structure. And in the end of this one, for instance, in the rhyming couplet, it's again, it's not a warning as it is in sonnet number 1. It's more so a positive overview, a conclusion, again, in a way, of how choosing the better option of having children, how it would make the youth feel. It would warm his blood. It will even just let him become reborn. This were to be new made when thou art old. And in that way, even though it's full of negative emotions, I think, in the beginning, it does end up quite positively. Thank you very much for again listening to my recital of sonnet number 2. I will see you in the next video.